Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty coming to you from Florida, day before Thanksgiving. I just want to tell everybody out there, I'll probably be live tomorrow to wish you guys Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. This is Sebastian Rogers. He's a missing boy from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and has not been heard or seen since. Now, there are some details about this case that just came up. There was a push by At Night Media Agency, Intelligence Agency, or At Night Intelligence Agency, excuse me, that did a push for photos and videos of inside the Texas Roadhouse as they are doing an investigation into Sebastian's story and in Sebastian's case. And they allegedly, well, from what we hear from a secondary post, received, oh, thank you, Robin, received what they were looking for. And they have come out and corroborated and confirmed to the public that the stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, was not, and I repeat, not at the Texas Roadhouse. So on my YouTube channel, we've been doing some work. I don't know if you guys can see this. I might have to take my background off. Hold on, let me just take my background off just a second. This right here. So this is I do whiteboards and I list out some things. Oh, thank you, Robin. God bless you. Of different things that we need to know. And I put this out there for my YouTube channel, and they have been writing me on bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, for some time, over the last 24 hours with their thoughts about this. Thank you, Manda Panda. It's nice to see you coming in. Everybody that's coming in, hey, I hope you guys are having a great day and not already doing the Thanksgiving anxiety dance. Hopefully everybody's pitching in. If not, start assigning food. That's what my best friend does. I am the green bean casserole this year, and that's, not too bad. Compared to the two birds and a ham that I used to cook when I had the parties at my house. So now that we know that the stepfather wasn't at the Texas Roadhouse Grill, I've got like 3 questions here, and hopefully you guys can help me. I love the TikTok platform because you guys are kind of when you go in on a case, you guys go all in. So here are the questions that I have, or what has come about from this new information. 1, Chris was not at the Texas Roadhouse. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Do we believe CP was in the area? If he was not at the Texas Roadhouse, was he in the area? Or was he at his RV? Or was he somewhere else? 3, how can we apply this new information to the timeline? There was a telephone call between mom and stepdad from 9:43 to about 11:30. Okay, I don't know when the call ended. We didn't have that information solidified in any of the interviews. I have gone back and reviewed them to see if I could kind of hone in on the time. And the best that we could hone in on the time was shortly before midnight. Shortly before midnight. Shortly before midnight means something to everyone, okay? I guesstimated it at 11:30 p.m. Memphis/Mississippi is 3 hours away. Possible arrival time, if left from Memphis, Mississippi area, would arrive between 2:30 and 3 a.m. in the morning. But where? Going directly home or going over to his mother's. There was a vehicle captured outside of the area right off their road that was there for 3 to 5 minutes between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. We know conclusively that CP arrived at work between 6:30 and 6:45, being on the crane at 7 a.m., We also know that the non-emergency line was called at 6:33. However, Seth was called at 6:22. So the purpose of this particular live is to give TikTok the same opportunity I provided YouTube. And what does that all mean to you? Do you guys have a theory? Has your theory changed? If you don't mind, send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm trying to get some people's perspectives and opinions about this case. We're either on one side of this case or we're on the other side of this case. Also, there is a $200,000 reward with any information that leads to the safe return of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers or the successful prosecution of those involved. There's been a lot of information going about. We also have been talking about this secret door. I did a live the other day related to this secret door, and this is another question that came up and came out when discussing this case. We know that the secret door I was referring to was the exterior door for the crawl space. But one thing I didn't realize is that some of those crawl spaces are accessible from inside the home as well as the outside of the home. I am unsure whether their house has it, nor am I asking. But it is just a thought because some of you may have crawl spaces. Are those accessible from inside your house or no? Angie says, in my opinion, KP handed Sebastian off to KB when she went to look for him. Angie, that's a great and valid point that you bring up there because we have up to 7 witnesses that believe they've seen an Infiniti QX80 sitting up at Warsham's, which is just on the other side of the road from the high school, Beach High School, as early as 5:30, some 1 hour before this child was reported missing. So is it a possibility? Yeah, I would definitely think that it's a good possibility. How so they know it was only 3 to 4, between 3? Well, Smoggy Lantern, how it was is that the time on this particular, it wasn't a Wi-Fi type of service. It was a hardwired service. So the cameras were actually on a device and probably a hard drive in the house as opposed to being able to be picked up on Wi-Fi or like Ring or Blink. It's not like that. And so the camera time was skewed a little bit. It was kind of stuck. It never really calculated. But based upon certain things that happened, like when the sun set, when the garbage was taken out, they could determine sunrise, they could determine those things, and they guesstimated it to be probably closer to 3:30. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm giving it a full hour because the specific time between 3 and 4 in the morning can't be had because the time on the camera was broken. But the event with the car happened an hour and 45 minutes. They timed it. An hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours before the garbage truck came into the community. And when they took that time back, it gave them this guesstimated time of about 3:30 to 4. But again, since we don't have a direct time, I said 3 to 4. Hopefully that clarifies it for you. And the 3 to 5 minutes that the car was sitting there, it's because they timed the time the car was sitting there when they saw it in the video. You got to remember, this video came from a neighbor in that community that captured these things. So not only was it turned over to law enforcement, but those neighbors have been also analyzing the footage as well. And that's why they were so adamant when law enforcement tried to say it was a garbage truck. They said there was 2 separate events, that the garbage truck didn't come in for a couple hours after this light video. So, that's kind of where it is. Now, it was the KPC and CP. It could have been. It could have been. We can't see the faces. I think CP was at his camper or work, but definitely played a role. I think a lot of people have that assessment as well. I think that's a good assessment. Well, let me try to, it just popped up on me. If he was in the door, there would have been an odor. That's true. That's true. Something happened. I mean, there's a reason why these lights that never have been on the outside of that house just popped up that night, and literally within 3 hours a child was reported missing. I mean, those I don't know if we can, I mean, we could try to apply if it was a just a coincidence, but Delilah, no, but I don't believe that that was a coincidence. I think that video captured something very, very important on it. I still think the stepdad and mom had something to do with it. A lot of people do. There's still a lot of people that don't. I'm not sure why, but there are just some people that actually need somebody. They can't take the facts and see the picture for themselves. They've got to have the picture painted before they understand it. And it's just a different, in my opinion, just a different mindset, just a different way of thinking. But people that have, in my opinion, that have been watching true crime for a significant amount of time can, thank you, Green Eyes, can typically, see a pattern. They've experienced it before from another case. They've seen it before multiple times, those types of things, and apply that. Some people just don't. And I'm not sure. This seemed very... After eliminating certain possibilities in my mind, it definitely started having a very clear picture painted for me. It's not a secret door, it's a crawl space. It was a secret door. It was covered up by shrubs. You missed the whole life, so calm down. It's okay. It's okay. Have you heard anything from... No, of course not. Of course not. There's no way KP is not involved. I would be panicking 24/7. And that's what I think a lot of the issues are, is their behavior. Their behavior, it doesn't sit right with people because it doesn't go with the circumstances. And that's been the hardest to overcome. But even when we try to remove their behavior, the inconsistent statements, there's just other things that still just shoot up all these red flags. It's hard. It's hard. There's nothing that has been convincing. They've been very secretive, especially the stepfather. He was the furthest person away from the house, yet everybody else's alibi has been publicly made but his. That just tells me and shows the world there's something there. There's something there to hide. Most people, like the mom and stepfather, or the mom and father, they don't have anything to hide. I mean, they just want their child to come home. Inconsistent statements with the mother. I know I can already feel some of you guys side-eyeing me with that comment, but in the grand scheme of things, what I'm trying to say, just the point I'm trying to make, is that they have provided their alibis. The first one was the mom. She's the one that told us about the entire day. Whether it was true or untrue, we're not getting into that, but she was the one that offered all of that information. The father was at work. It was, in the timesheets were all offered. Those have all been had, but the one that doesn't make sense to any of us, especially because this person happened to be the furthest away. It would have been so much harder for them to be involved 3 hours away. I mean, why can't you just say, or somebody just say, oh, well, it was 9 o'clock. I was in my camper. I had work the next day. I was getting settled in, for none of that. And it was like, oh, I was told not to answer that. I was told not to answer that. I was told not to. Why would that person be the only one told not to answer? It doesn't make any sense to a person that's using logic to this case. And I think that's where we're all feeling that there is definitely involvement here. CP said, you can't look for something that isn't missing. Sticks in my head. Yes, very true, very true. Oh, you're welcome, Smoggy Lantern. And how does KP know he went out the front door if she's sleeping in her bed? Raises questions. I think that has a lot to do with they had to, he had to walk down on his own. Okay, because any other means other than running away would open this huge investigation, which they didn't want to have. They failed to understand as soon as they said this child was medically needy, it opened that big investigation they didn't want to have. So just my opinion, you know, I mean, it may mean something different to you than it does to me. That's what it means to me. Because I truly believe, I mean, if you listen to some of the past interviews, I can't remember which one it was, but I remember it was, he said something to the effect of, if you just take all the drama and craziness out of this is no big deal. This is just a 15-year-old boy that ran away from home. It's not that, I can't remember what word he used, but he just downplayed this entire situation because I truly believe he ran away from home before. His mother called the teenage boy running away. Nothing else, nothing really happened other than a little a minor police report. Definitely nothing to this scale. And I think he was remembering that and thought that was going to happen by reporting Sebastian missing, running away from home, as opposed to being abducted, you know, something happening or anything like that. Because let's face it, even when I ran away from home, they didn't do this, you know? They literally took a report, handed my parents a case number, and followed up with them within 24 hours to find out if I came back home. I mean, they put a bolo out, but it definitely wasn't air support, you know, ground support, or, you know, water support, and it damn sure wasn't hundreds of agents, you know, searching for me. So I don't think that they expected, hey, Jason, it's nice to see you. I don't think they were expecting this. They just wanted this to be a simple runaway case, you know, get a report. I'm pretty sure it's something like, what in the world did you say to them? And that's probably why he wouldn't let her speak. Because he probably wanted to make sure that it was very controlled and that this child was deemed a runaway. No big deal. But somebody told them that this child was medically needy, and someone told them that this child was autistic. And that heightens the concern. It's that autism that heightens the concern. And why? It heightens the concern because autistic children that elope, now remember, Sebastian was not an eloper. If you talk to any professional that specializes in autism, they'll tell you that if a child's going to elope, they don't wait until 15 years old to do it. They start much, much younger, and it persists with them their entire life. But in this case, he never eloped. But that's not what law enforcement's not this educated in autism. Law enforcement is educated in autistic children gravitate toward water, and many of them lose their life in water. That's what's known. And I'm sure that's what caused this huge thing to just blow up, because they needed to get to this child before this child found water. It was only after the fact, later down after they've, called in the cavalry, that they are learning more about Sebastian. And this would be now I don't know this for a fact. This is just my opinion based upon my knowledge of police work, in my experience. I've got many friends that are in law enforcement all across this country. A lot of them that are right here in my own county, because I'm very political and do events. I haven't done events in a while, but, it still doesn't change the fact that I know these people and have conferred with these people and talked to these people. And it sounds like as they are doing more interviewing type questions while they've got people out searching for this young boy, they're learning that he knows how to swim, which is a good thing. That he's very ish. He doesn't like dirty water, which is a good thing, for law enforcement. If he doesn't like dirty water, he's not going to be going into lakes, rivers, and streams or ponds. But then they started getting early on in the morning, they got a hit right by that retaining pond. And I'm sure everybody's heart fell into their chest about that. But I just don't believe, for whatever reason, I just believe they had to state he walked out of the house because they didn't want any of this. They really didn't. I think they were just, at this point, what could you do? Right? That would probably show the anxiety of Katie that morning that Seth was just on his live on his channel stating that morning she runs up to him and is kind of panicking and trying to show him, look, he had a great day, with the photo. And then he finds out the photo is from the Saturday, the 24th, not even the 25th. And she would have known that. Oh, I hate when this thing pops up. You guys are going to have to wait for a second. I've got to find my point. It just popped up because I had so many there. Okay, I got that one. Okay, I'm back to where I need to be. How long can Tennessee hold someone for questioning before they have to release them? It really depends, because it's not really, it's kind of a detainer. And I think most detainers can last up to 48 hours potentially. I have not checked that in Tennessee. I know that might be it might not be a standard time. It might be a state by state. It's really what's in their statutes and in their law. I don't know the answer specifically to that. I'm just speculating here. But there is possibilities of holding people up to 48 hours without charging them. But if they are detained versus coming in as just a witness can leave at any time. Somebody coming in and just speaking with law enforcement without detainment can invoke the right to an attorney and literally get up and leave, and there's not a darn thing that law enforcement can do about it. And they have to have a reason to detain someone. If they don't have a reason to detain someone, they're illegally holding somebody against their will. So there has to be a reason for the detainment, and I believe that detainment can last up to 48 hours without charging some person. Some people, they like to scare people and put them on ice, so they use that, the ability of detainment and without charging, unless something comes out of their mouth that they can charge them with. So, they do have the right to remain silent even when they're being detained. Trash trucks don't start working at that time of morning. Exactly, they don't. And that's what Miss Bobby was adamant about. She knew without a doubt, now this is a lady that lives in that community, that knows the schedules of that community, that actually physically viewed the video, and she absolutely stated there is no possibility of those lights being a trash truck. Not only that, the lights went to a vehicle. One light went back to the house, the vehicle actually left. That shows you right there, those were some type of light sources going to a vehicle, and the vehicle left and one went back toward the house. That's hard to say that was a trash truck. And then moreover, 2 hours later, an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours later, you actually see the trash truck. 2 trash trucks do not go through that property or in that community. Only 1 trash truck comes in on Monday, and I think they said that they just moved the schedule, so they are there, but like 5:30 or something like that. So we have a point, clearly that's why they thought that this video happened at 3:30 to 4. I'm putting 3 to 4 there just to give some buffer room because we really don't know the specific time. Based on the video, there's a lot of activity around that house prior to his missing. Absolutely. Hours before he was reported missing. Hours. Because if this happened between 3 and 4, he was reported missing by 6:30. 6:33 to be exact. So that was only 3 hours before this child was reported missing. I don't know. Seth said it was the garbage truck on Pascal, said the video time was off. That's correct. He did say that. I absolutely agree with that, Liz, but there's a reason why he said that. I can tell you, I trust what the neighbors have said. If you don't, you can. But it seems like you don't really believe Seth until it's convenient for you. No offense, but that's what it sounds like. And when it's not convenient for you, he's a liar. So I'm telling you, that is not a garbage truck. I've spoken to people that have watched that video. It is not a garbage truck. I hate to burst your bubble. It's probably will be shocking to many people that believe it's a garbage truck. It's without a doubt not a garbage truck. In Canada, thank you for what you do. Oh, thank you, Smoggy Lantern. Thank you. I agree, not a coincidence. Yeah, not a coincidence at all. Secret door, yeah. So there is a secret door. It was covered up by, I still haven't found that photo. You know what? Let me go over here. I know where it's at in my video. I'm going to show you guys this. The door was covered up, and it was to the crawl space on the side of the house. It's the one side of the house that you cannot see by any video camera. You want to get, come on, you get up here. Delilah wants to say hi to everybody. Say hi. Here she is. Yes, you are. Yeah, I know you love mommy. She loves her mommy. She does. Look at that cute little face. Look at that cute little face. Aww. Aww. Okay, enough of that. Let me get to my channel. Give me just a second, and I'll show you this. It's very interesting. But all those trees that obscured the video camera were all cut down after Sebastian disappeared. I found that very, personally, very odd. I'll find that in just a second. But yes, there is a secret door. We're wondering if there's access to it from the house, too, inside the house. Because on my show this morning, people brought up that some of them had access to their crawl space outside as well as inside. It's like one little, whatever. And some said they didn't. So that would be almost interesting as well. Some speculate, some are factual only. Yeah. Sebastian, well, even the facts, we have circumstantial cases in this world, a lot of them. Tennessee is not very strong on circumstantial cases. Many other states and other DAs are very strong on circumstantial cases, and they expect you to take these facts. Circumstantial facts are still facts. You just have to link them together. Even though you don't see the person doing it, there's so much circumstantial evidence pointing that they did. And many people have been convicted on that. First degree and second degree, as well as all the other ones, malice murder, manslaughter, all those other things. So it's just, they have to meet those elements. Good morning, Chasing Crimes. Nice to see you. From the first interview I saw of them, I was convinced of the guilt. She's too calm and he's arrogant. That was very, very true. That's very, very true. I think that their behavior after this child, because that's the only time we've got to see them. We didn't really know them. I mean, think about it. In the grand scheme of things, we didn't know these people. We don't know what their lifestyle was before this child went missing. We didn't dive into this case until after this child was gone. So we're playing catch up when it comes to who these people are. But what we saw, like our first introduction to them, they're our first, because everybody, they basically judge you off your first, appearance to them, right? I mean, think about it. When you meet somebody for the first time, you're either going to like them or not going to like them. And both of them had the disliking abilities about them in those first few interviews, just by the way they were handling themselves. You know, because we see so many parents that come out and bear all to find their child. And when you see people being very reserved, it's never a good look, especially when you're begging for help. It's like nobody wants to help anybody unless we know that their hands are clean, right? I mean, that's like one of my biggest fears doing this, is that I work for a monster, unaware that I'm working, for a monster or with a monster. That is my biggest fear, is helping someone that has done terrible things. So I'm always analyzing and overanalyzing literally everything. Alibi doesn't mean truth. It doesn't mean truth, but let's face it, there's 4 people that have an alibi. I was sleeping, and only one that was caught on camera for the entire time that this child had come home to the time the child was supposed to wake up, because there was a 12-hour work shift that his biological father was on during this entire time. I've rewatched the interview, and I have seen them in a couple flat out lies. You are not lying about that, Robin. Flat out lies. Like, we try to tone it down and say inconsistencies, but we all know they were flat out lies being peddled by the mom and stepfather, and we've learned those. Like, even the him being in the crane when she first called him at 6:03, there is literally no possibility of that. He wasn't even on the job site. He wasn't even on the job site at 6:03. He didn't arrive to the job site for at least, at minimum, 27 minutes later. At minimum. Yeah, Sebastian's Army is by far one of the nicest groups of people. Now, there's people that are not part of it that actually state that they are advocating for this child, which they're not. They're just spreading hate and misinformation. Just straight up hate and misinformation. And I've never seen anything so like this. I mean, this is a 15-year-old boy that needs to be brought home. Why would anybody want to distract? And there's a good reason, because they're being paid to. They're being paid by their audience. They're being paid by other people, third parties. And it's not a good look. I mean, this child behind me deserves to be brought home and brought home safely. And every time people put out misinformation and disinformation on these platforms, it makes it harder and harder for this child to come home, or for people to have the information. At the end of the day, who cares who finds this child? But when you start hindering the ability to even look, shame on you, My theory is she's over-medicated, and a lot of people have stated that. Yes, Chase just started running out of the front door when he gets angry, and he's 6 and autistic. Yeah, and that wasn't the case with this child. I know Wyatt, Val, I hear you. Wyatt was hard. It was hard. There is a difference between a human scratches and animal. Yes, I agree with that too. And I was just talking about Delilah. Like, I got a little dog too, and I clip her nails often. And I can tell you, she's a puppy and she's rambunctious at times, but never, not one time has my arms ever, and trust me, we play rough. And not one time have I had those types of scratches on my arm. And I'm coming from a place of true blue experience, because this child, or I call her child, fur baby, thinks I'm a freaking jungle gym, okay? And she doesn't care whether her nails were freshly cut or not. And they do feel different than being, growing out and not being so rigid and stuff like that. But to turn my arms like his, there was no way. I don't see how. Even like Delilah and we play rough. Like, I'm that, and she's chomping on me. She's scratching on me. I mean, this is like the worst that it gets for me right here. That's it. But you don't see any scratches on me. I just have a couple teeth mark in the sweet meat of my hand. Even this hand's it doesn't have anything. And I don't have any scratches. I mean, she doesn't tear me up. And we play rough. And I gotta think Chris's skin's a lot more rougher than Bullhorn Betty's. I'm just saying. If he's got silky smooth skin, I'm gonna be jealous. How in the world does that happen? No. Totally believe that's human teeth and scratches. A lot of people do. I wasn't, many people will find out because that was brought to me a while ago. And, I'm very reserved when it comes to stuff like that. Like I wanted people to show me, I said, I put the speculative stuff when it came to that stuff. I'm like, this is 8 days. Could it have happened after he arrived home? Are those truly bite marks? Because I'm looking at where they are and I'm like, it would look like the bite mark went this way instead of this way. Like if you're like this, you're going to be biting down this way, but it wasn't. It looked like it was bitten down like that, and which is really weird. A weird position. So I'm like, I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they're not. But those to me, because I've had my arms look like his before, and it was from me searching in the swamp. Okay? And that's what started making me think that this child was, hidden in the woods somewhere because of the appearance of his arms. Now, CJ brought up a point. He's another content creator on YouTube, and he was talking about this patch of grass and this big patch of trees. But I'm not sure, because that would have been within that 5-mile radius, and I truly believe it was searched very thoroughly. But I do believe that they used that back little area to get to the unknown car where the light sources went. But there's that one light source that went back to their property or toward their property. Okay? There's no dispute that there was a light source that went to that vehicle and went back the other way. The reason why the light source wasn't so bright going the other way is because the camera was behind them. When they were coming to the vehicle, the lights were hitting that camera. When somebody's walking away from that camera, that light is going to be pointed the other direction. So you vaguely saw the light, but the light was heading back in the same direction it had just came from. I don't know if you guys saw that. If you haven't, go back to that Nick Barris video and re-watch it. Subject 2 goes back to the home. Goes back to the home. So subject 1 stayed with the vehicle. When those lights came on, it seems to me like it was a clicker. Click, click. Because those front lights come on whether you like it or not. When you have a clicker. You can crank your car without putting all your lights on, but your clicker will always flash those front lights. I haven't figured out how to disable it. I'm sure there may be a way to disable it. I don't know. But when you use a clicker, to unlock the car, your lights, your front and back lights come on. So, I don't know. I guess people have a lot of interpretation to do with that. But if you guys have any questions or comments, if you guys have someone Photoshopped, no, I can tell you nobody Photoshopped them. I was able to pull it off and do the high. What they did, Liz, is they took filters and changed out the light filters. I pulled those exactly off from the same interview, was able to duplicate the same type of stuff. Those marks were not, and I repeat, were not Photoshopped. When I see something and I know how to source it, if I can't resemble what is being passed around, I will debunk things. I will come up here and debunk things in a quickness. But I was not only able to pull those photos of those marks up and down his arm, I was able to apply the same filters and get the same exact results, which prove, because I took it off the WSMV video, the live video. We saw the full, when they dropped the entire interview, we were able to pull a lot more images of his arms off of the WSMV, and no, those were absolutely not Photoshopped. So I don't know who told you that, but the arms, they definitely had markings on them. And when you use some of the filtering lights, it showed different types of impressions on his arm that appeared to be bite marks. And that's where you get the scratches and bite mark images on those, because a different light filter was applied to that photo, which raised different indentations, different colors. Because when you're looking at something, that's why when you're doing like forensic work, they have yellow glasses to wear, they have red glasses to wear, they have different colored lights, they have red lights, blue lights, they have different stuff. And the reason why you use different filters is because some things may not be clear to the naked eye, but say using a blue filter, for example, it will drown out all the blue and raise the different colors up. So, and that is true for different types of filters that you use. You use different filters to look at different colorations to have those impressions. And I was able to reconstruct those images, so I know that they are true, and I know how it was accomplished. Again, it was by the use of filters, color filters. Okay, color filters. It didn't change the image at all. It just changed the color of the image. Thank you for clarifying that. I was wondering about that, especially since CP mentioned them himself. Exactly. Yeah, I know he knew they were there. But the teeth mark, in my opinion, weren't raised. The impressions that looked like bite marks, those weren't. You could see some type of impression there in marking, but you didn't really see the full context. And I can't remember what color filter was used, but there was a filter used, and when you put that filter on, it looked like these teeth marks were bitten into his arm. I mean, you could clearly see almost every one of the teeth. But again, you don't know if those are just strategic scratches, because you don't know where he was or how those marks got on him. So you can speculate. I've seen things out in the woods where I've been scratched up and it looks like a bite mark, and so I have to apply my personal experience to that. So is it possible it got a different way? Yes, it is possible. But I think in light of all of the events going on, people are just going to lean that it has something to do with the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And, I just don't believe in coincidences like this. I mean, every time we have somebody missing, one of the first things we want to do is look at their body to see if there's any injuries to their body. And we have light sources on the outside of this home shortly before this child was reported missing. And we have one of the parents with clear injuries on their body. This is very, very concerning. It is very, very, very concerning, to say the least, because these are things that we're taught to look for in situations like this. And when we look for them and we find them, we're taught that they're not good. And I think that's where, I do think that, who is that? Tracy? Yeah, this person's probably a troll. I wouldn't pay them any mind. I just block them. I'm almost tempted to block her myself, but I don't think she's really a Liz. And if she is really a Liz, then I don't believe any of the parents are involved. Well, that's stupid. It's always, do you know the statistics? First of all, do you know the statistics for autistic children? First and foremost, they're 20% more likely to be injured by their parent, their paternal parent, or maternal parent. And the statistics of anybody else being responsible for this in a statistical environment is less than 1/1,000,000th of a percent that it be anybody else besides a family member. So I would definitely ask you to do some better research and look at the statistics. The statistics are what I go to whenever I'm analyzing these cases. The reason why I go to the statistics is because those are facts of other cases. And I just really think that maybe you need to be educated. It's not really everybody else. It might just be you. So have a great day. I hope that you come back and play again, but it seems like you are not, oh wow, I can see what's wrong with you. Yeah, the mother part is not a very good look for you, especially when you don't really care about other children. Sad. All right, she won't be back. She won't be back. At least for a while. All right, there we go. We got her blocked. Sorry about that, guys. I try to give everybody an opportunity to, be reasonable, but the person was not even being factual. I mean, it's like if you're going to, like, I respect people having a belief, but have something on your side, like the statistics is what we should be looking at. Does it mean that the statistics are accurate? Actually, it does. Even when they don't turn out to be one of the statistics, there's still another statistics, right? Like if an autistic child is 20% more likely to be injured by their parent, there's still an 80% of something or other that's different, and when it's 99.9% statistic that it's going to go this way, when it doesn't, there's still that 0.01% that states it doesn't. So no matter how you look at the statistics are always accurate. There's always going to be an outlier. Whenever you're dealing with the law of large numbers, you're still going to have the outliers. Charlotte Senna, right? You guys remember that little girl that was abducted from that New York campground? Wasn't it just in 2022 or 2023? She was taken. The statistics stated that she would have been, deceased within, 3 days. The first 48 hours are the most important, but deceased within the first 3 days. And actually, the statistics are a lot more grave than that. It's within the first 3 hours. If you want to know what the main statistic is, a lot of people don't tell it, but it's within 3 hours that they're most likely, whatever. And she was the outlier because she was found, 2002 or 2022. Yes, thank you, flight nurse. She was the outlier. All the professionals, all the statistics, we definitely knew she was abducted. All the evidence was there for an abduction. And when we learned that it was abduction, which is very low, okay, statistically, abductions from stranger danger, believe it or not, even though we were taught in school, it's very low probability, okay? As opposed to other statistics, very low. But when you know it is, there's a whole nother grade of statistics that go along with that, and those are not good. And they're not good at all. And we knew that this was a stranger danger abduction, and when you look at the statistics of that, this child, I get goosebumps talking about Charlotte Senna, but she is so lucky to be alive. Now, she's going to have unseen and very deep scars from her experience, but she's still here and she has a fighting chance to a great life. And again, that was an outlier. She defied all odds. And again, I get goosebumps talking about her case because my heart broke. I thought she was gone. But the good news is in my world, when I'm wrong, that means, somebody is healthy, and has another opportunity at another day. When I'm wrong, it's good, it's good. So I'm happy to be wrong about Charlotte Senna, and God bless her and her family. That's all I can tell you. So, but that's kind of my 2 cents. I'm sorry that we had a Krabby Patty here in the chat. Again, we were just we welcome all people's opinions, but we don't want them to be gaslighting or trolly or disrespectful. I really, and I try to hone in on this on my YouTube channel, is that, you debate the issues, not the people, okay? Some people are just trash, and I get it, and you just want to point them out. Trust me, I'm the same way. I get it. But when we argue with idiots, it makes you look like an idiot. So just debate the issues. And I think that's where we excel the most, because we have facts in our corner, right? And as long as we have the facts in our corner, no matter what people say, we always can just pull out a pocket of facts, right? Instead of insults. Because when people start insulting you, they have no other argument. They know they already lost the argument. So that when people start insulting me, it's like, I won. That argument's done. Check. Getting insulted, right? Because they've ran out of stupid crap to say to you. They've got nothing to come back. So don't argue with them when they start insulting them. Put a smile on your face and know you just won the argument. You won the debate. Okay? You won the debate. Because if you didn't, they would pull out a pocket of facts, which they never do, right? So just keep being great people, guys. I know we're a dime a dozen this day and age, but we're here trying to advocate for children and missing people. Not just children, but all missing people and all people that need our help. There's an injustice, okay? And we're trying to find all the strong people that are here to pass around the message and here to do the right thing and here, to get this stuff out far and wide and speculate and think of ideas on how to find people. We provide a lot of money and resources to these cases, and this case has taken a lot. So, it's been a heavy, burden to take this case and run it to where it is, but it's finally, excuse me, where it needs to be, and it's finally getting the attention that this young boy deserves. And hopefully, by the grace of God, this child will come home safe. And if not, I pray, hell to the people that did this to him. Because, there's going to be hell to pay when the truth comes out, if this child is not brought home and brought home safely, right? We have an entire justice system, and we have an entire Sebastian's army that are going to make sure the people that are responsible for his disappearance have the book thrown at them, because they deserve it. And the lying, the deception, the scare tactics, all out the window, And we need to get to that point. There's plenty of time to be angry. I know a lot of us have already went through our bouts of anger over this, and frustration with, the lack of progress in this case. But it's not bringing Sebastian home. Bickering with idiots is not bringing Sebastian home. So we just need to keep moving forward, and whatever you hear, be vigilant out there on the social media streets. If you hear something, turn that information over. Don't think it's wasting anybody's time. I mean, it's been 9 months, okay? You never know what nugget of information is going to blow this case wide open. Have you heard something? Reach out to 833-TELL-DOG, 833-TELL-DOG. If you have pertinent first-hand knowledge, you need to reach out to law enforcement before you talk to anybody else. And I would recommend you reaching out to the Memphis FBI, but you can always call 1-800-TBI-FIND, right? You can always call 1-800-TBI-FIND and report what you know. But don't go in there with the speculation. Please, if you're going to call law enforcement, if you have speculation that you want to just clear your mind of, call 833-TELL-DOG, okay? Don't be clogging up. Just my opinion. Law enforcement's phone with speculation. If you have first-hand knowledge or second-hand knowledge, I would call that into law enforcement. If you don't know who these people are in person and you just been following this case, unless you have something pretty stinking concrete, I would send this over to the At-Night Intelligence Agency to verify and do what they do behind the scenes. Even after you call law enforcement, I would still turn that stuff over to 833-TELL-DOG. Okay, because we have found on multiple, listen to this. I just found out by another content creator. I don't know who it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But somebody was doing a live, and I think it was Silvers. Silvers on the scene, been doing great work. When people call in to leave a tip at Sumner County Sheriff's Office, like they're being sent to a voicemail of a lady by the name of Blanche. No other last name or anything else, just Blanche. And so Silvers decided, well, let me look and see what I can find on LinkedIn. He put Blanche there, Sumner County Sheriff, and found out that a Blanche has retired from Sumner County Sheriff some 2 years ago, okay? Or some significant time ago. Are all of these leads going to an unmanned voicemail for an employee that no longer works there? And that is now being speculated wildly on social media streets about that. And I've got to question that too. Who is monitoring the leads over at Sumner County? Because every time somebody calls, they can't get a hold of anybody. They're being asked to leave a message. I find it ridiculous. So again, this is where it comes down to, don't just tell law enforcement, let them be the first call if you have first or second hand information, but still put that out there to Nick at the Hat or Dog the Bounty Hunter to also be doing a dual investigation on those leads as well, because we can see the work that Dog and Nick are doing, even though they're holding a lot to their chest. When things are coming out, like when they had to call law enforcement, they released that. We didn't have no knowledge of it before it happened, but we did have knowledge of it after it happened. They thought that they saw somebody matching the description of Sebastian Rogers in a hotel room, and they had Sumner come out there and verify, do a wellness check and verify the child's identity, because apparently they were trying to hide. There was just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share, but at the end of the day, we didn't hear anything about that before it happened, only after it happened. So we know they are working on it, okay? We know without a doubt they are working on it. When they got a lead from Oregon and New York, they started sending out a whole bunch of paperwork to all the hotels, all the bus stations, all the rest stops, everything. So we're seeing their work. We can see that they're doing tangible stuff in this case. We can't see what law enforcement's doing. So that's why it's so important. Have you called something into law enforcement? You don't know whether they checked it out or not. Might be a great time to let Dog know about it. I'm just saying. So what you're saying is that Sumner is working on it, then why do you push they aren't? No, I'm not saying Sumner is working on it. As a matter of fact, I don't think Sumner is doing a damn thing, to be honest with you, if you want my true opinion. I just went through my dissertation of why I wouldn't be calling Sumner County and why I'd be calling the Memphis FBI or TBI at the least. Nothing in here do I promote any Sumner County. I don't care for Sumner County. I think they're corrupt as hell. And I like things outside of Sumner County. I think TBI needs to know. I think the FBI needs to know. Sumner County needs to hand this case off. I think they've done enough damage to it, if you want my truth. So I don't know what you're talking about, crime and contour, but nothing I say is ever anything good for Sumner County. Now the worker bees, I've got no problem with, but they're top brass. They need new leadership. And I'm going to be working on that over the next 4 years. I never want anybody to go through what I had to go through. So I am a very strong voiced woman. I've got a lot of political power. I've got a lot of a lot of people in high places. And there's just one thing I don't deal with, and that's corruption. There's corruption, a little bit of corruption in every community. I haven't gone to a community right now that there hasn't been some sort or some form of corruption, even in my own county, okay? But their kind of corruption is very dangerous and needs to stop. This case just seems to be handled differently. I didn't even hear it on the news, only on TikTok, because the news, and this is why we are replacing the news. That's why I'm not these idiots that are on here that that sit there and cause chaos in these cases for clicks and views. I consider myself press. I consider myself media. I have badges. I go to press conferences. I've done interviews with some of the Gonzalez in the Idaho 4. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we do, and I truly believe social media is going to dominate the news. And I truly believe that independent journalists such as myself are going to be some of those dominating voices on these platforms, and people like me. I think over time, the hate channels and these idiots are going to kind of be moved in their own little corner as people start listening to the information in a different way. And it's kind of crazy because I don't know if you guys heard, but Elon Musk is considering buying MSNBC and turning it into a citizen journalist news broadcast. The top cases or the top stories are going to be broadcasted on it. I'm like, well, it's going to be more reliable than the crap you're getting this day and age from our news organizations. Not that all news organizations are bad. They're not. I've got a lot of friends that are in the news organization. My sister is a reporter for Everything Holy, So I have respect for them. It's just, and I know what their problems are. There's a lot of good investigative journalists and everything out there, but they're controlled by their board of directors. They're controlled by a lot of different things, okay? They're advertisers and stuff like that. We are not controlled on our platforms. We don't have somebody telling us if we break this news or we share this evidence that we're going to be fired from our job, that it's going to piss off the police chief, and the police chief will never give us another interview again. He's going to 86 our small little news organization. Those are the stuff that's facing mainstream media. We don't have any of those. I don't really care whose toes I step on. I'm here for the truth. I'm here to help bring a person home or bring valuable information to help and aid in their case. I really don't care if I'm on a boil on the butt of a politician. I've never cared about that. What I do is I act within the confines of the law, and I expect the counties to also act in the confines of the law. Sumner County does not do that, and I have had to bear witness to that. And so I don't really care for Sumner County. And I think that they're crap investigators, quite frankly. Because I've had an experience with one of those crap detectives. Her name's Lisa Byington. She doesn't know the law she's an idiot, in my opinion. Just a straight idiot. And should not be, if she did what she did to me, she deals with high profile cases in that county. And I want to know how many other affidavits she lied on for the arrest, because that's what she did to me. So I'm going to find out all that. And I found out that you can't really get any of that information until you are a resident there. So I'll be renting my house here in Florida, and I'm actually going to be moving into Sumner County for at least a year or two. And I'm doing that for several reasons, because I want them to know I am now their taxpayer, and now they are going to be answering to me as well. Now, apparently that's a big deal, even though our Constitution frowns upon that. Clearly that's a thing for Sumner County. So being involved in their community, being involved in their county commission, city council, school board, my community here deals with Bullhorn Betty. They're going to have a little bit of sticker shock, because I'm very politically active, and clearly Tennessee needs some help with law and order. So I'm happy to provide my platform as well as my body to get to the goals that I think that need to be had in Sumner County. And I don't think they probably think I'm lying about this. They don't quite know I'm not. It's just a matter of time, because I went through 2 hurricanes, that this house is going to be rented out. I'm renting this house out for a year, and since they love me so much in Sumner County that they took my 3-day trip and turned it into something I'm going to have to keep going back and forth for at least a year, they've just bought themselves Bullhorn Betty. They just bought Bullhorn Betty. I will make sure that this never happens to another citizen in that county ever again. Move on over, Bullhorn Betty is coming. I'm coming. I'm bringing my snow shovel with me too. I'll get down. I'll get down. Why would they put it on social media? Doesn't that jeopardize the safety of Sebastian is positive? I'm not sure what that question was for. I'm sorry. I wish I could answer it for you. I don't understand it. He's not even allowed to talk, work with LE. How is he involved in this case? He has zero. I guarantee. Oh, I'm pretty sure you're probably the one that's. I don't know who you're talking about. I'm coming into conversations. I'll let that roll. If anybody sees anybody being disrespectful, please let me know immediately so I can get them gone. Green eyes clearly isn't happening here. All I hear is name calling those investigating his case. Oh yeah, I have definitely an opinion on people that poo-pooed all over an investigation. You want to know why I say that, Sammy Wild Eyes? Let me explain this to you. You might not be up on this because you probably haven't covered enough cases. There's something called the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, okay? In that National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, they are literally the gold star to missing and exploited children. And this includes runaways, which factually is what was stated at the time, that this child seemingly just ran away. Well, that National Center for Missing and Exploited Children have very clear directives on how to properly handle scenes when children run away. This law enforcement body never followed it. They didn't follow it at all for at least 30 days, if they even followed it after 30 days. Why was this so important? Because when you turn the house and their room into a crime scene, there are certain protocols that go into place. For example, people can't just walk in. It is a crime scene. People can't just trample over or contaminate the interior or the exterior of that home because it's a crime scene. The child's room would be locked down. That means people wouldn't just be able to walk in it. Why is this important? It's because when we learned about what happened that morning from Seth Rogers, we learned that not only was he able to enter that property without being asked one single question, he was able to walk into his son's room. Therefore, all those law enforcement people, including the family, were contaminating the crime scene. Do you know John Benet Ramsey's case was not solved because of this exact reason? The exact reason we're dealing with right here, a contaminated crime scene and not locking down the house and turning the house and his bedroom into a crime scene. So you might have your opinions about me, but I can tell you when my opinions come out, especially when I'm critical of law enforcement, it's drowned in legitimate fact as to why I'm so upset and so disgruntled with a law enforcement body. Now, you can go back to your hate channels and they'll probably say, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I've been doing this for years, long before I was ever even on these social media streets. And I come with a whole bunch of facts. So before you come stepping into my chat with this nonsense, you better understand why I come with this information. Because things weren't handled properly. And then they went into hiding and silence. Not just the parent, the mom, and the stepfather, but law enforcement as well. That does not leave me or his father confident that they are doing what it takes to bring this child home safely, or even finding out where this child is. Now, I'd like to drop the mic. So I would just get your facts together, because it seems like you're in here trying to make a ruckus, trying to come in here because you don't have the facts on your side. Sorry, you just don't. So you guys can come here and be disrespectful, or you can just realize you guys have a lot of work to do and start doing some research. Instead of debating the people, debate the facts. Debate the issues. The issues is that law enforcement didn't do what they were required to do when it was necessary for them to do it. Dispute that. My email is bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. All right, guys, thanks for being here with me. We've already crossed over the hour because I just had to do the little puzzle thing. I hope you guys got something out of this live. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas, you know, I'm always open to, especially you guys. If you guys if you think I'm off, send me an email and break it down. You know, maybe I'm not thinking of something. My email is bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I get hundreds of emails. I read every single one of them myself, and I respond. If I respond in writing, it means that I had to explain something. Otherwise, it's usually a thumbs up, a heart, or a cry emoji, depending on what it is in there. But when I give you that, I send it, okay? I don't have somebody reading my email. It's from me. So send me an email at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, especially if you disagree with me. Yeah, be respectful, because I'll tell you to get bent if you come at me all disrespectful. I don't do all that. But you want to have a respectful conversation, I'm always game. I'm always game. bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. And by the way, I'm going to say it again tomorrow, and I'm probably going to say it later today. Happy early Thanksgiving to all of my beautiful family, my social media family. I hope you guys have a wonderful day with you and your family. We all have a lot to be grateful for. I mean, look at what we cover. Just knowing our life isn't this. That is a lot to be grateful for, because it could have been us just as easily as the families we cover, and we should be very, very thankful to that. Don't forget to leave out your mail person, your Amazon delivery driver. You know, for me, it's the linemen that keep my electric on. You know, we have a lot to give thanks for and to in our lives. I think this time of the year is really special for a lot of people. I hope you guys, you know, I know we are in our own little stuff, but it would sure be nice that if we could, you know, just this holiday season, just tone it down a little bit, okay? With the insults and stuff, get into the holiday spirit. I know some people like the holidays, some people don't like the holidays. But let's face it, this time of year is when we have so many young kids reported missing. And why? Because they were missing before, but it's getting down to the point where people have to start seeing family, and they need to come up with excuses for why their loved one isn't with them. So this is already going to be a hard enough year for a lot of people. So let's just work together, because I have a funny feeling, just like every year between now and Christmas, we're going to have a really wild case, because the holidays just sometimes bring out the worst in people. It doesn't have to be us. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be us. All right, guys, take care. God bless, and we'll see you soon.